Howard, and welcome to Interior Design Decadence. Can you give me a brief description on some of the amazing tours? I know you do fabulous wine tours. Tell me a little bit more about what tours you do.
Well, the tour that I do mostly is Cradle Mountain, which is our iconic wilderness area in Tasmania. And I take people up there basically to have a look at the beautiful scenery and to walk around Dove Lake, which is the glacial lake at the bottom of Cradle Mountain. Other tours that I do include Stanley in Tasmania, which has the Nut, and I also take people to Hobart and the East Coast, to Freycinet and to Mona, places like that. Mona you may have heard of, which is our art museum in Hobart, and also Port Arthur Historic Penitentiary, where the convicts used to live in the early days of their history. The wine tours that I do are based in the Tamar Valley around Launceston, and it's not just wine tours, but we look at the produce that Tasmania is now famous for, the very fine cheeses, honey, salmon, berries, and chocolate that is produced on the northwest coast is usually included in my wine tours, as well as 3 or 4 wineries.
Perfect. So it sounds quite decadent.
Very, very decadent. Yeah, most people enjoy these wine tours immensely. Yes, good for families as well. It doesn't have to be just wine drinkers.
Doesn't. I'll actually share with you very good. You know, in regards to wine, we have wine and grapes and things back home and it doesn't have to be about the wine as you mentioned, because with our second son, you know, I was 9 months pregnant going through our vineyards, and I tell you what, that day, I just, it was certainly decadent, but as you said, wine itself. It's about the making.
Pure decadence, yes, in fact, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So so the tour, you're obviously with a group, as in your team, it's yourself and your wife as well?
Yes. Yep. I do most of the actual driving. She comes occasionally on the tour, but it's usually myself. And it's usually groups of between 3 and 10 people. Small intimate tours which take in, as I say, the best of Tasmania. We have become very famous now for our produce around the world, and particularly with the Chinese. They have come over here in big numbers lately and amazed at our clean air and our fine produce, and they've gone back to China and spread the word around there.
Fantastic. So who are you inviting now? Obviously, by person, obviously the people just in age, welcoming in particular, is this something that you'd love for them to come and see what you do and be a part of the tours?
Your sound is breaking up a little bit, but I take it that you said who are you looking at expanding your market to?
Of course.
In fact, most of the Asian market we're looking at expanding into, particularly India is a big proportion of the population, but of course the old favourites, which is the European countries such as England, Germany, France, Italy, those sort of people. Holland, I love having them here as well.
You've forgotten us beautiful Greeks as well, but I won't take that to heart.
Awfully sorry about that. The wonderful Greeks and the Italians, we love the Mediterranean people because you guys love your wine and love your food.
We do indeed, thank you, and that's why we're sorting out you and live from there as well.
Good, it's all good. Americans too, of course, and Canadian. Yep. And increasingly,
yes.
Even Brazilians now are starting to travel more, aren't they, around the world? So that's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, obviously, all of your tours are quite special and quite something you would like to mention to our fabulous viewers around the globe, if they're looking at coming, obviously they can go onto your website, they can contact you direct. I know how welcoming you are. Is there something that you would like to offer them perhaps?
Well, we do offer them a very intimate special tour. It becomes like a family tour, in fact, so I treat them just as if they're one of the family, and by the end of the day or the end of the tour, they feel very much a part of Tasmania. We like to make them feel very much Australian while they're here, and Tasmanians in particular are very welcoming people, even more so than our counterparts in Sydney and Melbourne. So we'd love to have you guys here. And we're starting to learn languages a bit more too, branching out into particularly Asian languages, but also French and German. I'm sorry I don't know a lot of Greek.
Look, teach you some things, but that's fine. I look forward to that.
Okay.
It's been time, and look, we'll check in with you soon again.
Sure.
We'd love to have time. We'd love about particular tour and go from there. I'd love to have you, as I said, back on.
Fantastic. Can I just say one more thing? Tasmania at the moment is flavour.
Of course.
Tasmania is flavour of the month, apparently around the world, because of its fine produce and the good climate here, and we're getting a lot more tourists than before. So we would love to have you guys and your guests.
Absolutely. Thank you. We look forward. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Your beautiful wife.
Been a delight.
See you. Thank you.
Delight talking to you.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you. That was the
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Tours, and we look forward to seeing him again.
Cool.
Hello, Katerina.
Do we have you on, Marie?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when I was small, I really wanted to be an adventurer. So when you have a dream and that comes true, basically the process of putting your thoughts into reality, that inspires me how one idea can drive the person to success. Throughout all your life, you have different ideas and how they lead you to something new. And that's how I came to affirmations. Basically, visual affirmation is when you visualize your dream with the help of art. So when you a dream where you have already achieved what you wanted, and then you meditate and imagine that you have already done it many times. Every time you see it, you make some kind of small training for yourself, and that helps you to achieve what you want faster and easier. So that is my specialization, and that inspires me to see how other people can make what they want easier with the help of my art.
How you got into what you do? How did it all?
Okay, well, I also do not hear, but I just understand that you're asking that you would like to hear the story how I got started.
Yes.
And yeah, sure. Okay. Well, it wasn't very pleasant story because it started when I was 7. I have my brother and sister and my mom alive, but my father died when I was 7 years old. And at that moment, the first 3 years were devastating for my family because my mom didn't work, and she couldn't work because she had 1-year-old twins on her hands, and I was,
of course,
like starting my school at that year. So it was very tough years, and at the same time, it happened in 1990s. With the perestroika in my country, so the period of time when the government changed and we didn't have nothing in shops. There was no product.
Yes.
So a lot of people were starving at that time, and overcoming that difficult period of time, art was my solution because that helped me somehow fix the tragedy, somehow to cure something that is not fair in your life. And basically it helped me to cope with it, and that's why I was into arts that period of time, because on canvas or on paper I could put my dreams like how I wish it would be, better than in reality, right? And that was giving me a lot of power to go for it and achieve a lot of things in my life.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm understanding that it is how does the process work, right? Because I'm not hearing you anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Good.
right. Yes.
Okay, good. So what I decided to make, like I was into meditation retreat once, and I decided to unite it with art that I do. So usually how the process starts, I put the music on for meditation, then I go into the meditation state, and I focus on the positive energy inside of me, into the balanced state of my consciousness. And after that, being in the same condition and trying to stay in this condition for as long as I can, then I start to paint. So that helps me to ensure that I put only positive energy and thoughts into my artworks. And because I do believe that with whatever we do, our thoughts reflect and other people can feel it. So it's important that when you create something beautiful, it has to have a beautiful energy in it. So people will feel it and it will create a wave of positive energy in the world. So that's how I usually do. It's like fun process, and for me it's like art therapy at the same time, and meditation, and the way I live basically.
Perfect. I so understand, and thank you for sharing that as well. Now, we've viewed some of your pieces in some properties that we've previously styled, and I know what effect it has on people who are looking at purchasing property. What I'd love to hear that people are actually
as I understand, you would like to know how that will reflect onto the people who are selling their properties. I do work with this. Yeah, I do work with some clients who recently sold their properties, and the reason why they applied to my help, because they want to create unique atmosphere, personal space, give the personality to their house, and basically that will give the attitude to people who come and see it. So basically they will see that, okay, this property has personality, this flat or house has the personality inside, and that will ignite their will to purchase it. Because without the personal attachment or evoking of any personal feelings, nothing happens in this world. So that just makes the property look more attractive, more personal, and more expensive, because having a stylish piece on the wall that will match to your interior, to your walls, to the color of your curtains, to the style of your furniture, that will increase the whole perception of the space, like one whole thing, and that will give their character, even if it is just a house, right? But it is a place where people spend 1/3 of their lives, they sleep there every night, right? So they do want it to be with a kind of a soul. They look for it, because if they're going to live inside, they definitely look for some kind of soul inside, or reflection of the previous owner's life, so they can understand, oh yeah, I can fit in, my life is similar, I like the same things, and it's like, oh, I love this piece of art, and that inspires me, like ignites something inside me, so I would love to see it further and further in my life. And then they basically try to, they're not buying just the building, they're buying the lifestyle. And in that case, the perception is very important. I would definitely like to see my pieces in a hotels, in a lobby, or in a suites, of course, because when people have their vacations, it's basically the period of time when they waited for that for, I don't know, a year or half a year, right? So it would be nice to create some art that will basically follow them on their holidays, so they can come back from whatever trips they have to the hotel and see something soulful and thoughtful. Yeah, definitely. It's like what my target is. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for your questions and interest in my art.
Thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Katerina. Good luck. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.